Today is the 9th day of August, 2013. And I'm making this for God's people, the true people that are out there trying to help bring about the necessary renewal of our faith in the Founding Fathers and the Constitution of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The big problem? People are not following the law. They have taken an oath before God and the people to uphold Article 1, Section 10. The problem from the beginning, all the way back to Moses. And the Federal Reserve never said it was money. Now, I've already filed documents up the yin-yang. The departments and places and people, I've been doing it for years. God's tired of it. See, man can't be complete until woman is. And woman has not had a voice. Has not had a voice. You blame us for everything. But we're the ones that gave you your body. Where'd you get your body? Where'd you get your hands? Where'd you get your mind? It didn't just come from your daddy, honey. He's got the blueprint and the seed. But it's got to be planted in fertile land. And the land belongs to the women. And it's about time you figured out that there's nothing in the entire creation that is more important than your family. Than your family. Than your creators. Your creators. That's your parents. Your grandparents. Your great-grandparents. Your great-great-grandparents. That's 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. You are an ark. And they've all eaten from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and they've whittled it, whittled it, whittled it, whittled it. That's your guide. That's that little voice that tells you better not do that. That's a wisdom that you already have inside you, but that has got to be harmonized. The 6th chakra with the 5th chakra with the heart chakra. Israel is trying to be born. Is real. R-E-A-L. There's several different ways that word can be broken down. But anything that is made with your hands, it's always like a ship is referred to with a woman's name. The mother country, the motherland. That's your mother. Now, the bees have left California and the almonds. If you don't have bees, you don't have food. The reason they're leaving is because all your pesticides and all your fake stuff. The reason you have the fake stuff is because of the Federal Reserve Note that you've treated it like money and it never was. And Roger Sherman knew it. And the Founding Fathers knew it was going to take a long time. And it would be a woman who would be sick and tired of being sick and tired of being sick and tired of people who will not respect the law. Now, you take an oath to support and defend the Constitution. And you sheriffs and deputies out there, you got Star David on your heart. You don't even know what the Constitution says. You don't know Article 1, Section 10. You're out there collecting the thing, the piece of paper that represents the devil, the people that live backwards. This is the promised land. Everybody, where we're sitting, this is the promised land. They knew it was going to happen in America. Was going to open up here. That's my job. God appoints who He wants to do it. You don't appoint them. If you would have been the one to appoint them, you would have already had it done, but you didn't. You needed a woman who was well done. Now this morning, I'm making this video now because I have a lot of actions out there. I haven't really had any of God's true people helping me. I mean, I get messages from the Spirit, and people do start singing and while they're walking, holding hands. I see all that. But in the meantime, our boys, our grandsons, our sons, our brothers, our husbands, they're over there pursuing an enemy that's using a piece of paper to keep you all in a political catch-22. And it couldn't have happened at any other time. It had to happen at a time when everybody would be able to have somebody explain or interpret for them, whether it be by sign language or not. It had to come at a time when the constitutions and the governments had all been had enough. Federal Reserve notes are piled up to heaven. It's a bottomless pit. And it represents death. And the one Federal Reserve note is not a dollar. It's not redeemable in a silver dollar. 371.25 grains of pure silver. Oh, now they have coins that have, 99.9. But I've got $2. I've got one that is a silver certificate from 1935, issued by the United States. There's no Federal Reserve on it. And I always carry this with me. It's not a good luck charm. It's money. It's Israel money. This money is real. And I have a Morgan $1921 right there. J.P. Morgan. He bailed America out. It's my daddy's pension. See, there's been a lot of mistakes and errors. And people didn't understand the Internal Revenue Code, including the agents, because they don't know. Everybody's just been under this where you do what you say. And don't, that's not your job. Get supervisor. You're dealing with all these counter people. But the counter people, they're your friends and neighbors. But they don't want to get educated either because they like their job and they don't want to hear anything about their paper. Okay, because that's been their security. But I'm going to tell you something. The Mayan calendar ended. That was the close of the 5th day. See, there's 1,000-year days in the Bible. There's also a year and a day. There's also months that represent hours. There's all kinds of things you haven't really considered that many people have devoted their time and their energy into pursuing these avenues and these subjects. And mainly that's so that we could be prepared for today. Because we're going to be entering in to the 6th day. And that's when God creates man in His own image. But we have to get rid of that paper. People are really, because you didn't realize the Bible was a recipe for the Spirit. And, there's nothing new under the sun. The same things happening in the Bible, the same stories and scenarios today. But there are some key features in there that a few people may have overlooked. One, people take it out of context. You do the same thing with your court cases. Because you don't read the whole case, you don't really know what the case is about. And if the judge questions you on that, he'll eat your lunch if you don't know it. But the Founding Fathers made it easy. They understood there was a paper problem, and so did Lincoln. He sacrificed his life for the Legal Tender Act. And there's a lot of other good acts too, but they were trying to get rid of the paper problem. Now, the Federal Reserve, they never said it was money. If you go look under Title 12, Section 411, it states they're redeemable and lawful money. So right there, that tells you they're not lawful money. The lawful money are the United States notes under the Act of February 25th, 1862. And there's penalties in there for counterfeiting. And basically what's going on here is because it's already been proved in court. Somebody already proved that a Federal Reserve note was a counterfeit. And you can't counterfeit. But you can if everybody thinks it's not counterfeit. So I have other movies that I've already posted. You can go back and get a review, but we don't have that much time because Star David is being completed and it's being formed. And the deputies have Star David over their heart. That is a sacred oath that goes all the way back, honey, to the beginning. That's honor and loyalty and protection of God's children. There's the women and children. And just because somebody has some words on a piece of paper and says it's a law or a policy or a rule, you think God has to follow that? I mean, you can't stop and think in your mind that something's, if it's not right. And Edward Snowden, he couldn't stand it. But see, God's got a time and a season and a reason for everything. And yes, Jesus is coming. See, I know y'all got tired of hearing about that. He's coming, and then you got tired about it, so people started writing fairy tales and telling y'all different kind of things. And there's been this war in heaven. All the religions have argued and battled between themselves, and people that don't want to be in a religion, everybody arguing about everything. You gotta just be quiet now, because it's written in the stars. And we are evolving. But you cannot have an honest government unless you have honest Israel money. Now, we've had our Constitution operating, back and forth at half capacity, mainly because the women had to catch up. They had to get enough laws on the books, because over in England, you couldn't inherit anything unless you were royalty as a woman. And over here in America, you could buy a wife for 150 pounds of tobacco. See, that's not right in God's eyes. And also, the Native Americans, the Indians, they didn't treat women right either. No. When her son died that was supposed to be taking care of her, they just shooed you away from the village. And I see there's a lot of practices like that. Some people have clubs, societies, churches. My grandma was a member of the Salvation Army. They're always on the front line of everything. They don't bug you on the telephone. They don't call you up and ask you for a donation. They just ring a bell. Let you know they're there. My grandpa was a band leader. He played every single instrument. See, we've got to get everybody in harmony here. All the great countries and motherlands and places, we're all related. And now we can bring in peace by Article 1, Section 10. Who wouldn't want to have honest dealings with the United States of America? Or how about, right now, the office there is no state citizen holding office of the president. There's a duality here. You have somebody who's sitting as governor of the District of Columbia. He's Obama. And that's basically because of the two political systems. See, you're all residents. I'm not a resident. My driver's license, I already cut it up, boys. I'll be sending it to you. This will be the second time around. Had to go back in. I've been working undercover for God. Because God hears all the prayers. And God sees everything. Oh, you think you're doing something secret? No, you're not. That's why I already knew they were watching me all the time. Anyway, I already knew that. But see, now they have to watch you. Because I don't really care. I do. But for right now and this time, I don't. Because I need somebody documenting. Well, not really, because God will do it anyway. But, they don't want to miss anything. Okay, so I put this was in a seminar I gave on October, I think it was October the 8th. The 8th, right around that time, in 2008. And I had a book that I put together, and I had videos and, audio tapes that go with it. Well, I did, but see, I've read the entire Internal Revenue Code. It's perfect, it's a masterpiece. It's, it's the refined, it's the ham, it's the remnant, it's the end of the law in regards. And it is the law, and it's your government. The reason you're all getting investigated and everything is because you're trying to treat a Federal Reserve note as money and get an exemption, and the Federal Reserve is not political. They're forbidden to be political. You have to go read their act. If you want to know who they are, you have to go read. See, that's bread, but if you take the B, that's be red. Be red. Know what you're doing before you go opening your mouth. I've gotten in trouble myself. And I get excited because, and a lot of people get frustrated because they can't get their point across, and it's mainly because we are surrounded by the deaf, dumb, and blind. You can put the law right under their face, and they look at it, but they don't see it. And you tell them what they're taking an oath to: no state shall make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, and somehow it must bounce off their ear. Oh, I don't know. It's simple. Read, write, and understand the English language. How hard is that? You want to hold an elected or an appointed position in America. We do have need for people to speak other language, especially Spanish, because the treaties have not been concluded. We're going to get those done. But we're going to start by undoing, because see, the war power has been terminated. They've been terminated. And you're not my boss. I'm not going to be your bond servant. I want my grandma and my grandpa's gold and silver coin. I want it. And all those leases and all those deeds and all that stuff you talked me into, it's all a fraud. And I want my money. I just want my collateral back. I don't care about the interest. The interest that I have in my ancestors' estates is the percentage of the bloodline, the blood quantum, quantum physics, blood quantum. That's the percentage. That's it. I don't care about the interest. I don't care about that. I want my collateral. I want my coin. And the interest that they did charge, the reason they had to do that was for the penalties that they were going to impose on you. So now, the way we get that, because they're all stockpiled on it, is you got to claim that the penalties belong to you and then redeem them. And that releases your ancestor from that obligation, because it's written in a book. And I want that doomsday book brought out, because my family's in it. I want to know how much you owe me. Because I only want my fair share of the taxes that were paid. See, we were tax exempt. You're still a taxpayer. You just have to go down and fill out the form that exempts you. Then you're a tax exempt payer. And that's when they have to pay you in cash And I'm so happy because my family's coming in. They're bringing some of my things that have been in storage. I'm so excited. I got all my, well, not all of them, but my star, currency acts of Congress. Yeah. I'll be doing movies on each one of them, but I may not be able to communicate with you for a couple days because I'm going to be busy because we're moving things around here in the tabernacle in the wilderness, and I do have the Ark of the Covenant. Saying you got that, your hand over your heart, you got the Star of David over your heart, and you're taking an oath to support and defend the Constitution. You're taking that before God and the people and all your dead ancestors. And then you turn around and you throw people out of their house, or you go sell their house, or you make them an involuntary servant to the city of Caliente. When there's no courthouse here, there's no place for me to go file a grievance. And I'm having to participate. I'm not participating in that power company, no, because they are breaking the law. They are violating the law, and they're dragging the rest of the people down into the sewer with them. I'm not going. I'm not going. I'm not going to play your fraud game anymore. Not doing it. I've already got my case. Psst. I got eviction proceedings. You want to try to evict me and play your paper game? I'll evict you. Because the Lord will just remove you. I don't have to do anything except pray for you. And I don't want to see violence and everything. They said it's civil. Oh yeah, I want to be civil about it. But when you're causing a man with a star on his chest holding a gun to walk around this town and enforce your policies that are unconstitutional, unlawful, and an abomination to God, you bet your bippy that's criminal. I have a right to my own conscience, and so does that deputy. And so does Edward Snowden. And so does a whole lot of other people that are sitting here watching all this stuff unfold. And there's some brilliant people on the internet. Star of David, constellation, and everything. See how it lit up? Star of David's. It's coming in. Jesus is coming. He's coming for his true people that kept the sacred oath all the way back. The Ark of the Covenant had to be rebuilt. And I rebuilt it by 15 people that followed instructions. I had to make them up a form. I had to give them. Some of them did their own thing. They each pledged a silver dime. Should be a dismy. It should be a dismy according to the Coinage Act. George Washington took Martha's silver. Her silver. Had them made into 1,500 half dismies. That's something to be inherited. American patriots have given you the ability to inherit a chance to have your child sit in the White House.